I'm going to show you how to make royal icing. First thing we're going to use is my trusty scale. What I have in the bowl here is a pound of sifted powdered sugar, 3 tablespoons of meringue powder. Meringue powder is dried egg white, and a half a teaspoon of cream of tartar. Cream of tartar is a stabilizing factor in when you're working with egg whites of any form. And I'm going to now add 3 ounces. I'm going to tare our amount here. We're going to add 3 ounces of just regular temperature tap water. That's about 6 tablespoons. But it depends, because some measuring spoons are not standard, so you can't go by the number. Standardized tablespoon is actually 1/2 of an ounce, and so you want to weigh actually and test your tablespoon out and put some water in it and weigh it, and if it comes out to be 1/2 an ounce, that usually means that your measuring spoons are standardized. Okay, I'm just going to mix this around a little bit. Now, royal icing is very different than the buttercreams. First of all, of course, it doesn't have butter in it, but this is the icing that you use to put gingerbread houses together, etc. It dries very hard and firm. So here we go. We're going to put it on high speed for approximately 3 to 5 minutes. Now, before I continue, I noticed that in the bowl here there's a little bit of powdered sugar that's over on the sides, and I want to work that down in there, and I want to push it off the paddle, any of this thing, because I don't want it to get hard. Lifting the bowl a little bit so that I'm sure to get the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to turn this off, and then I'm going to show you that this is stiff now. Before it was very soupy, and so we've beaten the air into it. And now we're going to turn it into some icing for our cookies. So I have over here some pot sucre cookies, and this is rolled a little bit thinner than the rose cookies that we had made before. Now, what I have to be careful of is that this icing is something that is going to harden if I let it be uncovered. So I have a damp towel, and occasionally if I'm going to make roses or something out of this, I'll absolutely have this over here, and then I'll have a plastic bag over it. But what I'm going to do now is actually make some icing that I'm going to use, color some icing that I'm going to use for the lips and the hearts in 2 consistencies. So what I have now is an absolutely clean rubber scraper, and I'm going to make some icing for outline. And for the outline, I'm not going to change the consistency. It's absolutely perfect. Let me just open this up, and I kind of keep it covered here a little bit. Okay, and you can also use containers with tops on them too, which, you know, if you're going to do a lot of work, you'd want to do that. And then I'm going to make some other icing that's a different consistency, and that's for a flow that we're going to do, and fill these in. Okay. And I'm going to use a pink color, and I'm just going to put 1 little drop in here. This goes a long way. And we take our clean spatula, and we just mix this up here. And again, I'm not changing the consistency by adding more water to this. And it depends on what you want to do. If we want to do the lips and you want to make them hot pink, you can always add a little bit more. It's always possible to add more. It's very difficult to make it lighter, although you have to just use some white icing and you can make it lighter. So I'm trying to stir this kind of in a figure S kind of motion. I'm not whipping it, I'm just stirring it. We're going to keep this one like this. Now the next part of this is we're trying to make an icing that's thinner so we can fill with it. And I am going to turn it pink, and I'm going to add some water to it. And because I'm not weighing this, and again, this happens a lot, you have to add water a little bit at a time. And you'll also notice I'm wearing gloves. And again, because when I use color and I'm mixing icings with this color, I'm trying to protect my skin because I don't want it to be absorbed by the skin. The color absorbs, by the skin. So I just wear this, and I don't like to have stained fingers. Okay, what I'm looking for is a consistency that flows. And so obviously this is still pretty stiff. So again, a little water. And after you do this a while, you can add it, you'll know exactly whether you're going to use a half teaspoon or whatever, you'll have more confidence. It really depends on how much icing you're using. Because once you add too much water, you're going to have to add more icing to it to obtain the correct consistency. Okay, now what I'm looking for is that ribbon or the mound of icing. I want this to disappear at the count of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you're doing a large cookie, you may want to thin it out a little bit more, but our cookies are small, so I'm not going to thin this out anymore. So I'm going to let this be covered again. And I'm going to take some of the thicker icing, and I have, again, our parchment cone that I have demonstrated, and we're going to put a number 4 plain tip in here, and then we're going to take some of our outline icing here, just made with 3 ounces of water to a pound of powdered sugar, and we're going to get this ready. So I have these cookies here, and these are lips and hearts, and what I want to do with this is I want to outline these. And again, what I'm doing is using almost a 90-degree angle, lifting and going around. And the idea is not to have the icing break, to have your outlines really smooth. And you can choose to move your body with your hand rather than jerking around, whatever works. I'm going to do one more. Maybe we'll do the heart. And just let it drop. Okay. Right. There we go. Now we're going to fill the cookies. And again, if you have an hour between the outline and the filling, it's very nice. In fact, I can show you why. Right here we have some air bubbles that are coming up here, and we're going to get more. So it's ideal if you have some time to let these air bubbles all come out over an hour and then pop them so that they don't enter into your flow work that you're going to do. So we'll do that now. Okay. And now we haven't cut our cone yet because this is pourable. So we're going to let this pour in here. Not too much because it's a small cone and you don't want anything to come out the top. Now again, we haven't put a tip in here. That's very important that you know that we don't have a tip in here. And now that I've filled this, I'm going to take my gloves off because I like to feel the cone when I'm doing this. And we take our scissors and just a small snip at the end, and you can always make the cut larger. It depends on the size. So we're going to see how this flows. Okay, and you want, when you squeeze, you're squeezing and you're keeping your cone embedded in the icing and going from side to side. And the idea behind this is that you're going to create a smooth surface. And if you see this pillow effect, the fill icing is actually a little bit higher than the outline. And sometimes it settles, but this is what you want. if in fact it goes down below the icing and it creates sort of a convex look to it, you have put too much water in the icing. But this seems to be just right. And again, as you do this, you'll be able to do more intricate designs because you're going to gain confidence. It just takes experience and a little patience. The main thing is, and we have some air bubbles which we're going to tackle, but the main thing is just to keep the tip of the cone embedded in the icing. I'm going back because I want it to be a little puffier. So I'm going to do the heart the same way. And you can have several different colors of icing at the same time, and with a skewer you can blend one into the other and be very creative. But this is the very basic of the flow technique, and I wanted you to see it. Okay, and there we have it. Now this is going to harden. Got a little air bubble there which we'll take out. This is going to harden, and we'll be able to use these as decorations for various things. And so the icing gets a little darker when it dries, and we have our lips.